It's a chaval. Don't waste your time. You're young. You can. Wait a minute. Seems that Rav Stav will be doing other things and not Baba Basra for this holy week. He'll be doing like holy things. I told you, remember Rav Shach used to say that the boys used to run away from Ponevezh, used to want to learn in brisk Kodshim. So he used to say that's what Paroi told Moshe Rabbeinu. Nirpim atem, you're a bunch of lazy bums. Alke Neimru Neilach v'Nizbucha. We're going to go learn Zvachim by Rav Shaber and Brisk. Okay, he said, you guys are lazy bums. You can't hack Noshim Nezikin. So you decide to go Nirpim atem. You lech v'Nizbucha. Megate learn Zvachim by Rav Shaber. So that's the same thing here. You know,
Maybe isn't it din kaid in the regal? We can be kaifet to learn other things.
That you could have done 30 days before. The only din is to know halacha. Do you know how many halachas that in Shvus is one sifri Shulchan Aruch, for goodness sakes? How long does it take to learn that?
I'm sure if we learned it with Rabbi, it could take a decent amount of time.
That says pshat and why we say says what to do. The practical halachas of Shvus, what are they exactly? The halachas of Shvus.
All of halachas of regal.
Repeat the din of rega as far as what? That's not the chayv. It's the halacha of koydem achag, dinei achag. Shloshim yom koydem achag, sholim doshim behilchas achag. That's the din. What hilchas achag is there in Shavuos? Can you tell me?
All of the regular halachos that apply also during the other Yom Tovim apply also on Shavuos.
We can learn the chizmuk side. Yeah, you're right. We can learn Masechtas Beitza. I suggest you start learning Masechtas Beitza. And learn Achana de Rava, right? It's a very good thing. And if Tafshilin, it's not going to get. I mean, that's what you're. No. I know what's going to happen. No one's doing that. I know. We both know what's going to happen. They're going to talk voodoo. Poor God. I don't think God recognizes his own religion anymore. Okay, what can we do? Sometimes. When I was a kid, there was a song, I'm just a boy whose intentions are good. Oh, Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. I gave up on that song. Thank God, misunderstood. What's the difference? It didn't work. Okay, let me get weiter. Okay, so if these people will be teaching, I will also be teaching, hopefully. Razner also up for it. Didn't have a chance to confirm with Friedman. Will they be doing Baba Basra? I just want to know that. I got a feeling we are going to have Shir. That'll be great. If they do Baba Basra, I will do Baba Basra. If they're just going to do fairy tales, I can buy Grimm's fairy tales and we can read it together. You want to do that? Anybody want to be here while I read fairy tales? No, I can learn Chassidus with you. You want to learn Chassidus and Shloshim Hagbala? Anybody want to learn Chassidus? Raise your hands.
Definitely.
Oh, Chai, you want Chassidus in the Neshama. Yeah, very good. Well, in the meantime, listen to what I teach over there in this Vayachnu Vayetzu. Oh, I'm also saying a shir for them. There will be a shir, Erev Shavuos. I think 9:30 in the morning, Erev Shavuos. There will be a shir. The Kotel is doing another project for shiurim for 30 yeshivas have joined. I don't know what, Edison, Tarvadas, you name it. I don't know if you saw the brochure. Big yeshivas in America. We're talking about Elia Brudny and the Mir, Usher Arieli. I don't know, all the beards. And so we're going to be saying shiurim. So you're going to have a lot of shiurim and Erev base. And Aaron Shraga Lipyansky. He's going to be saying there too. It's unbelievable. I don't know how he did this. So I'm part of that too. So I'm teaching. I assume not, but they told me they would let me know. Oh, they will not be doing Baba Basra. I told you this is going to be a week of voodoo. We will talk about this, okay? You guys want to learn Yachrecha? You want to learn Baba Basra like hardcore, or do you want to do the voodoo? What do people want? It's very hard. Did you try? What are you showing me?
We do Achrecha?
I want to do it. Did you do the Balamor already?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So if everyone promised me they're going to work hard and be into Acharecha, I will do it. Okay. I need everybody to work their knuckles off because without knowing it before, I'll send out the Ma'am Kaims today. Okay. Basically, you have to know Kufla Midvav, Hey, Kufla Midvav, Kufla Midzayin. You have to know the Sugi of Shimon Gamliel and Rebbe, and then you have to go back to understand the Sugi Kuf Chafei, and then you understand the Balamor. Big Balamor and Ramban here. It's this kind of a Balamor, not a small one. It's like a big thing, and the Ramban, and we have to do that. So if you guys start doing it today, I'm game. If they are saying sure, yeah, then I will do it too. Okay, does everybody want that? David, I know. Thank you very much for being my kin in soul. If everybody wants that, I will do that too. You know, Mayor, let me know. Okay? Because I think everybody here is now thinking, what do we really want? I don't know. We'll see. Mordechai, what do you want? Slow about.
I would rather do Basra.
Basra. Maybe I was successful. Okay, good. Now we get invited. So let's go back to this Baal thing and finish it. Okay, let's start again from the top. We have Rav Papa there. Rav Papa says, Rav Papa, and we pointed out, let's understand carefully. On Baal, there's no Chiddush at all. It's enough in the Gemara. We learned that in Kuf Yud Gimel, and there's no argument there at all. So what is the sweat? What are we talking about? Why does he have to say Hilchas? What's the Chiddush? Then he says, so if you read the Lashon for itself, if you're out to tell me the halacha of milva or shvachta b'meila, thank you very much. Why don't you say it the way it is? When you read the Lashon Repapa the way it is, is there a machlekes? Is there a machlekes in B'chor? Of course, everyone agrees that B'chor is not noitel b'roi kibbeh murzik. So what is the memory of Repapa? What is before you see what the Rishonim say, you ask the question. What is he adding? So obviously, l'chayr, what he's pointing out to say, it would seem to be one of two things. Either you could say he's equating B'chor to Pashat, to Baal, possibility, or you can make a little dig and say, if he wanted to equate, he should have said, Eina Baal ve'abchor noitlin b'roi kibbeh murzik. By the fact that he puts in two different sentences, there is a possibility of learning he's out there to differentiate. In other words, what's clear here is there's an issue of equating. What is the relation between the din of Roy and Murzik by B'chor versus Roy and Murzik by Baal? Whether he's out to equate or he's out to differentiate, this is Lamaisa Machlekes HaRishonim, which I'm sure you already saw inside the Ramban, the Rif, the Ramah, the Rimagash. I sent them to you. Okay, I'll go through it in 2 minutes. But let's go a little further. Then it says, "Ve'en ha'pchor noitel pishnayim b'milveh." What's he out to say? Now there's another halacha. You say but hypothetically by milva, we would have thought that maybe there's a difference in gov and karkos equals who's he coming to be mamayit midivrei my rava bnei my rava. That's what he's out to say. And once you say no, this is also called shvachta memela. And since the shvachta memela, we paskin like Rabban the Rebbe, and he's not neitel. And we don't think that we don't say there's an aroy ashbach. And we don't think that shibud is enough to be called a mugzik. Why? Because we hold yachol salka bezuzah is simply not enough. That's what he says. So then I understand the chiddush of Rebbe. You have to machriya this la'alocha because there's a machlekes and there's a shakla v'tay. The question is, what is the kudus chiddush between the Baal and the B'chor? That's the question on the table. Now we read the Rashbam. So the Rashbam, Omer Papa Hilchasa ina Baal noitel b'roi kibbeh mugzik b'roi mamish ki going lirashes ishtei b'kever. Benachlish nafla lacher misa asher papa lashmin and the yaris. The hakula alma moided layaris kidi alfina mikroi repirkin de lael miduksiva give us pilkas b'naid Rav Hunalei polig ela bacharecha. The story that we had before with the Sapta is only by an acharecha. Ukirafarsha belazer the kolema acharecha kaime miachshav dami. Of the Roy, the Pligabe, Rebbe, Rabbanon, that he's talking about the Roy of Shvach Mamela, Where what? Where there was a Shinui Hashem, Kigoin Chafur Veveshuvli, Shlupa Vevetami, where the Chil Hashem, Loi Osel Hashmeinon, the Ein Abal Noitel, Elevade Abal Noitel, Sharei, Kishemesa Yerush is called on the Chassid. What is he out to say? He says in a case where it's not Roy, it's Shvach, even in a case of Shinui Hashem, so he says, L'chayre kumtais for him, there's a tzad to say they should be chaylik in that too. The only reason it's not true because it's didn't by Roy Ashbach. That's what he says. Why? Yoyesh is calling the chassin shoyzem muzakis v'hem v'chigad leper b'shusei gad le. V'shtei da. State since by a Baal, as soon as, so to speak, as he's Yerush is a Roy Ashbach, it immediately is. And even by so to speak, by any shvach, it's not bidin shvach the enichem shvach the mameli he doesn't get, but he doesn't take him bidin shvach the mameli. He's not a Yerush on the shvach. He's a bailim on the karen, and then mamela the shvach is his because they Roy Ashbach. This is what he writes. This is the Shittas Rashba. The pliga rabbanon b'bchor. There's a machlekes in b'chor. What's the kasha? What's the kasha? Why don't we say a Roy Ashbach in a b'chor? So he said the awesome the time the kamon losses le matona kaya rachmana. It says matona kaya rachmana, and therefore what? And therefore what? And therefore since there's got to rachmana, therefore what? Therefore the tzad to say that what? We don't say a Roy Ashbach. Why not? The teretz is because he has to want to have the matana. Remember the Ran. He has to want to have the matana. Without a gilui dasar vastan kabos matana, it's not his. That's why only after it was meicha, it becomes his. Once he says, "I want the matana," then it says an enochanami. Then we say Roy Ashbach, and there's no machlekes of Rebbe Rabbana. The whole machlekes of Rebbe Rabbana is before he said he was teveach haluka. So how do we know this whole halacha that depends on you wanting it or not? That's matana kaya rachmana. Okay, so Rashbam very good. In the time of the mean that's also matana kaya rachmana. About leka lemeimer hachi. About what does it mean leka? You can't say that there's such an idea. Why? Because it's a very mudna lush. You shouldn't say about laser. Baal, there's no such thing. Leka lemeimer hachi is a mudna lush. Okay, let's try to understand what's he saying here. What's he saying? What's the leka lemeimer hachi? So what did we explain? We basically came to the conclusion that the Rashbam is saying what's the anocha here? The anocha is that by a b'chor, since there's a concept of matana, and he has to receive it. So we said, now what is in context? Let's take the broad context. The broad context is that by b'chor, there's a musig of by b'chor and pasha. There's a musig of tfusas abayis, and basically ein lo lepashat kaidem chaluka. And until Chalukah Gemura, the Pashut has nothing. It's only in a twistus abayis. By the Bchor, there's a din of Matoni Kai Rachmana, and as soon as he's Teveh Chalukah, even if he doesn't have Chalukah, then we know there's a halacha that it's a Roy Ashbach, it's his. That's what we know. We don't know the Tviyah of Chalukah else for a Pashut. It's not mefurish anywhere. Okay? Not mefurish anywhere. I know that we once had someone mention this as a possibility. I don't see it mefurish anywhere. Okay? So what I know is one thing. I know that there's a concept of tfusas abayis, and until that tfusa is undone with chalukah, the pashut has no bailus pratis. Masha'en kein the bchor, as soon as there's a tfiyah for chalukah, he has a schus for bailus pratis, and that schus is enough to say a Roy Ashbach. That's what we know. Beforehand, what does he have? Now it's an interesting shaila. What is this? What is this chelik of bchor beforehand? Where is it? Is it in the tfusa? Well, it depends on the girsos and tosefta. If shaloi yishbech bishalahem, so we understood what's the pshat. It's in the tfusa. It's in the tfusa, and as we learned with the nesivus and the chiv on the pshutim to give there from the tfusa, that's the baliyat tfusa. The tfusa has to give him his chelik bchor. How do we explain it? That the father is mizaka to the bchor through the tfusa, through the pshutim, which are the baliyat tfusa. That's if the gear says shaloi yishbech bishalahem. If the gear says shaloi yishbech kishalahem, that's not mukhrach. It could hypothetically be that it's something extraterritorial. It's outside of the tfusa. It's a thing. But now the problem is, what happens if he doesn't want it? If that's the truth, how does it fall back into the chalukah? into the tfusa? Who does it belong to? If it's something outside the tfusa, but yet it depends on him to receive it, what happens if he doesn't want it? How does it suddenly transform into the tfusa? What happens there? And since we don't find any unique dynamic about that, found in the Gemara of the Rishonim, therefore the Chavetz Muchach that no, it's in the tfusa. It's naturally in the tfusa, and the Batana Kai Rachmana that he's supposed to get it, so to speak, from as the Nesiva says, that we point out from the Gemara, if you recall, by Sofek, that the din is that what? That the din of Hashar, we learned that in the Nesivas, and therefore Mamela, they have to make sure that the tfusa has to give him his chaylik. That's the halacha, but it depends if he wants it, and the father is mizakeh to him. All that is true. Mikai governor, where's a tfusa, and the tfusa is mizakeh, etc. So we know there's a halacha, batanya kai rachmana. Basically, it belongs to the tfusa, and the father's mizakeh through the tfusa to you. That's the matana, and you have to want it. And if you don't want it yet, it's just basically just part of the tfusa. I was mizakeh, you didn't receive it. That's not shaykh l'chayr by the Baal, not because there's no pasuk. Without that, there's no tfusa. Loi shaykh, that's why the Lashon Rashbam is l'chayr pashut. Loi shaykh, it's not shaykh to say that, because there's no tfusa. If once he's the Yerush Yachid, by Yerush Yachid is the din of tfusa. The Rashbam takes for granted that no, that since he's the Yerush Yachid, therefore there's no din of tfusa. That's what he writes. Since he's Yerush Kol HaNechasim, so he is the Baal Tfusa, and that is private ownership. Otherwise, you could say, how do you know? Maybe Chanami, you're the Baal Tfusa, but you have no private ownership, and the private ownership only comes after the Chalukah. So maybe there's no Roy Ashbach for the private ownership. I'm just trying to think conceptually. The Teretz is never Pashut. He understands that no, if there's nobody else, there's no estate, it immediately goes directly to the one owner. When you have a bunch of Yorship, and which each Yerush has the same Yerush in everything, as we discussed in the past, then you need some kind of a corporate entity, and then each one, then when you take apart the corporate entity, each one gets a private ownership. You can't be a Bailim in everything for everything in a private ownership if there's 3 people there or 2 people there. Once you have 2 people, so each one is a Bailim and everything for only a half. But to say that you're a Bailim and everything for everything is only if you're nothing more than a shareholder in a corporate ownership. And since that, therefore, that's very nice. So when there are 2 people there, and a Chanami, if there's not 2 people, there's not a Baal, even by a Yerush Pashut Echad. There's no din of tfusis habayis, a major nafkamina for kalboin in the sugi and bechayris. The whole svar tfusis habayis is only, according to the Rashbam, only when there's not a Yerush Yachid. If there's a Yerush Yachid, he believes there's no such concept as tfusis habayis. That's what comes out of this Rashbam. So this is the lashon of what he says. Then he says of oid. Now he says something really interesting. The afilu bechor kai gavna. Even a bchor in this situation, the leke Yerush acher elohu Yerush kol nichse aviv. What's he out to say? Let's say that there's no qualitative difference between a bchor and a baal, and there's no reason why one should be. We walk away from the word matana kai rachmana for whatever reason you chose to say that there's an idea that there's no aroya ashbach by bchor. Hypothetically, there's no aroya, shouldn't be a aroya ashbach by baal. So he says no. Hasamite, what does he say? Why? Because I gavna. But if the Baal Bechor is nothing more than a Yerush Yachid, the guy gavna, the leki Yerush Acher Lahu Yerush Kol Nichseaviv, Hakol Moedim She Yerush Hakol Va'afilu Shvach Haraui. Why? The Haki Ashba V'Shusi Ashba. He says, forget it. You have to understand. It's very simple. It's not just because Bechor is a special halacha of matana. Without that, the bare fact that there's a Yerush Yachid, even a Bchor would get Roy. What's the problem with this sentence? Tell me, if there's one Yerush, does he take me to Bchor or does he take me to Pashut? And even if you say he takes me to Bchor, what's the difference? But the Shvach will get me to Pashut. Whoever told him he get the Shvach Midin Bchor B'Kai Gavna? There's 2 questions here. Whoever said there's a Din Bchor when there's only one Yerush? Period. Made Din Bchor is only when there's 2 Yerushim. Hello? Who said to the Din of Bchor when there's only one Yerush? You're supposed to be older than some. So a bchor doesn't mean older than. It means to say, no, you're a firstborn. So it means inherently you're going to have a din of bchor. And what? You get pi shnayim of who? What, you're chaylik with yourself? This is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Written by Robert Louis Stevenson, by the way. Okay? So goodness sakes. It's a short little book. Okay? You must tell me you read this in Irish Cat when you were kids, right? Like Treasure Island and all this other whatever things. Anyway, he was a prolific writer. Anyway, but what's he saying here? It's muchach here. This is a meshugin, a modna Rashbam. What's he proving? First of all, he decided that when the Yerush Yachid is a din of bchor, number one. Number two, he's deciding that even if there's a din of bchor, he wants to bring a right that he gets the chelik shvach midin bchor. Verstehen, she's also Mr. Hyde. He also gets midin pashut. How do you know? Why did it ever pashut? What is this, Rashbam? Has anybody solved this? Can I ask before I go further? Has anybody solved? I'm sure that you asked the question. It's you can't not ask this. Did anybody ask this question? Raise your hands. If you don't, raise your hand. One. Who else? Elazar. Hello. Well, how many more tzaddikim do I have here? Mayor. And I asked it to another one. Okay. So for Anachat Tzaddik, Shai. Everybody else didn't ask the question. God Almighty. Did you read the Rishbam? Don't know. Maybe you didn't read it. Stummy didn't read it. It's not Lumdus. He didn't read it. It makes no sense. You know what? I will say a shir nachrecha if somebody gives me an answer by tomorrow during the tiyul. You can talk and learning, and you'll give me an answer. There's got to be an answer to this because at the moment this is like a real medrash pliya. You know, most of these medrash pliyas aren't really midrashim. Someone made them up, but this is takapella. Obviously, the Rashbam is not out to bring a new raya or something. He's out to strengthen what was said before. Now, it's an interesting shayla. What is taka the halacha? Is there din bchor even in a situation where there's only him and not someone else? Should I give you a maramakim? There's an instant piskei shari tshuva and choshen mishpat on this. 1 minute, I'll find it. Oy vey. Oy vey. Oy vey. Let's see. One minute. If the shaila there's a bchor get pishnayim when he's dealing with his sisters. You know, we give usually right at Savoy, you give the girls a right of what you call a shtar chotzi zocha. They get at least a double of this. And they said also for bchor, does he have pishnayim klapi the shtar chotzi zocha or not? What happens is one son and two daughters, and the father wrote a will, which he may decide designate the girls. They are pseudo zochor. Does he have a din of pishnayim? L'maisim midiraisa, if the man wouldn't have written anything, he's just a yerush yachid. Now that he has two sisters written up in the tzavah, which now make him part of the thing, did that tzavah mean that now you have a din of pishnayim? The tzad is, but without the sisters, you don't have a din of pishnayim because there's no one there. Now, once there are sisters, did we mean to say you have pishnayim or not? This a shayla brought on in Paiskim. This is in Piskei. I have to find it. Just 1 minute. So this is Taka Mefurshei Piskei. I remember that in Choshen Mishpat. I still remember. Oh, I found it. Oh, it's so nice. Reish Pei Aleph. Piskei. This is Ramah, the end of the Ramah, Ois Sif Zayin, where the Ramah writes, that's how you make sure your daughter gets Yerusha. You basically make a shtar chayv. You say, listen, I owe my daughter $1 million. So either you give her a chetzi chelik. If not, I don't care. Pay the $1 million. You know what I mean? Because if I do as Baldin, and even if I give her a star, but he definitely a star, he will work. But definitely, if you give her a star, she's got $1 million on you. You understand? So in order to that, you have to write in the star that the piroim will be if you give a chetzi, if you give a chetzi zocher. This is one of the ways these are done. It says Masha Nagim Achshav Lichtov Star Choyve Bite Last the Sheitne Bite Chetzi Zocher Yiftem Nachoyv Tzorach Liten La B'chol Asher Loi. The Iker Hu Achoyv L'chein Tzorach L'chayev L'chayis T'nai O Yishal Me Achoyv L'chein Aminik, etc. This is the halacha. So then it says over here in the Pesach Tshuva in Ois Zayin, here he brings, when the guy wrote, "Shetitol chetzi zocher ach v'sefer shtar nemer boy v'chol ha dilel kibalti alai b'chiyav gomer la'asher u'lekayim mad." What's the halacha? So he brings a chshuvah some soifer b'yin zeh blah blah. Oh, v'ayin shvus yankiv. Oidus Ruven shemeis v'meniach ben ubas v'abenu b'chor. But there's no ben, another ben, right? But Abbas yesh lo shtar chetzi zocher. So what did he do? You have a daughter and a son. The son is a bchor to nobody, and now there's a shtar chetzi zocher. Because of a kenoah kol shtar chetzi zocher shetitel Abbas sach ma oy chetzi zocher ben pashut v'abrei b'yad yoshim. The yosh can decide. It depends how he wrote it. If he wrote it, either give chetzi zocher or a certain amount of money, they can choose what they want to do. V'achshav Ruvain shavak chaim. Bob ne abchor v'toyin kim shekotzev chetzi zocher pashut etla ani dal chalokim v'abas chelik chamishis. If it's taka chetzi zocher, so then what happens now? There's two schar. It's as if there's two schar, three scharim here. I get bchor and the other half of hers, and she only gets a chetzi. So it doesn't mean to say that he gets a half of what a regular pashut would get. No, because the din of b'chayra. And whatever it is, it goes, this is the shaylas. It didn't b'chayra when there was no pashut. What did the father mean? Did he mean to say, you're a pashut, your b'chor is irrelevant, so you're going to get 2/3 and she's going to get 1/3? Or we say, no, brother, he is a b'chor. And once you gave her Yerusha, it is relevant. It's not relevant, but the shtar makes it relevant, etc. What the shayla on the table is there a Torah's bechor without the pashut? This is the Safik found here in Pesach Tshuva, so you can look it up. Reish Pei Aleph, the Ramah, Saif, Sif, Zayin, Ois, Zayin. Look it up. It's the first 10 lines of the Pesach Tshuva worth seeing. That's mamish gives to the Yankis. Okay, so the chayre, this is the chayre what comes out. This is the chayre, this Rashbam over here. But Afal Pikein, what's he proving? Naniach there's a din of bchor. Naniach there's a din of bchor. But who says he's going to get it midin bchor? Maybe he gets it midin pashut. Naniach he also is a din. It's a muchach in the Rashbam. There's a din bchor even when there's no pashut. But he's also a pashut. No one says he's only a bchor. If he's a din bchor, it means there's a pi shnaim, the chelik pashut and the chelik bchor. So put the chelik pashut, include into he'll have all the shvach, and the chelik bchor, you won't get the shvach. What's the problem? How do you know that he's going to get the chelik bchor, the shvach mitzad chelik bchor? That I'd like to have someone to answer. Okay, we go weiter. This is the chayr what it says. So Ma'aseh, what comes out over here is what's in the Kudas HaChiddush. So he says weiter. So the Rashbam L'maisa says, as far as Roy is concerned, what does he basically say? He says there's a halacha of a Roy Ashbach, etc. And Adkan, that's what he says. What's the din by Milva according to that? What's the din by Milva according to that? Well, Lochai by Milva, if he's the bailim of Kol HaShibud Legamer, and there's no din of Kluk at all, once again, we'll say a Roy Ashbach. So it should also say the halacha should be by Milva. So according to that, but a Baal will take Pishnayim b'milva. That's the way what it comes out to be. Ein apart that Pishnayim b'milva is at the Rashbam. Why a feel Pishnayim b'em should go for Kakman Shemaz the lav I Kakav lav I Maz Shavik line of one. Wherever they roy, we topis on a mashkin Amma afilu repapa point at the Pishnayim Kidikaimul. That's all good if you because you hold there's no chaluka in the chayv. But if you don't need a chalukah, if you have your Yerush the kulai, what's the problem? There's no whole reason we didn't. What did we say? Why don't we say there's a chelik in the chayv? That was the question we asked when we learned Taisvut Ramasla in a Parnoitel. And what did we say? Very nice. There's no chalukah in a chayv. That's all true where you need a chalukah, but if you don't need a chalukah, lamasha by the Baal, which he l'chari has the total shibud, so l'chari the din should be quite simple, unless you believe it's only by pchor ben apshutim that you can't do that, and then you have to go also only mitzad the din of shibud deiraisa. As far as shibud deiraisa is concerned, Yochel Asal Kerezuza says that's not enough. That's all true because he's not the Baal HaChayv. The chalukah wasn't in the chayv. But l'chayr, that's all in the place where you need a chalukah by a Baal. L'chayr, it's not that way. What does Taishus write? Taishus writes in Divrei HaMaschil, Omer of Papa. Taishus writes like Rashi. He writes Mefurish like Rashbam. Avo shvach noitel ki the pirsha kunzu the kivin and the yerush elahu zeichem nechasim miyad ubushusa ba'ashvach. Finished. Then he writes after he's going down 3 lines. V'hu adin nami the loy shakol bal b'milvus ishtoi. I feel b'mesha loves the ishte b'nichsim alug. The ha nezik nami have a kenichsim alug ki the muchim asitnim tzisa isha filo achim masher perik shor shenochad al v'hei lo yeris bal. The Rebbe Davku took looking begrusha the chashiv milva roy b'pchor v'uadin lebal. You see here we have a machlokes. You notice he accepts the idea that as far as shvach is concerned, he has this halacha. Yet when it comes to milva, he believes milva is not called muzik at all. Not called muzik at all. This is shita sartaishis. Once again, you can take back to what we learned in Kuf Dalit. You can go back to your notes there. This is what Taisus believes. The chayra, why not? Why is it a davar pashit? And some of the answer is because Taisa the Shitasi, you're talking about Rav Papa, the Gemara is talking. What does Rav Papa hold? Rav Papa holds Shibuda Lav Deraisa. That's Taisa's the end of Divrei HaMaschil, Ve'ein Abchor, Kuf Chavav Amid Aleph. Go to the last 4 lines. V'tzorach Iyun, Taisa says, there Rav Papa Sava, Hacha Ben Gav V'kake, Ben Gav V'mois, Ein Le Im Kein Sava, Shibuda Lav Deraisa. The shili get pashit, Madame la Adadi, a pair of comedy kedushin, Savik Papa, Shibuda there, right? He has a stira. But basically, he takes for granted from the Gemara in Ksubas, for example, that the other Rishonim bring that Shibuda Lav de Rice. It's also Ramban in Ksubas that we mentioned. Okay. Once you hold Shibuda Lav de Rice, it's another pashit. So he doesn't even have to say Yachal Asalka Bezuzay, because the Gemara said in Kufay and Hamid Beit, if Shibuda Lav de Rice, it's another pashit, it's nothing. What is the chayv by Shibuda Lav Deraisa? Once again, it's not a schus mammon in anything. It's nothing more than you owe me a pu'ula. Well, that's obviously there's no kinyan in that. There's no bailus in that. You don't owe me a neches. You don't own the bailus of the bailus. The old Shibuda Lav Deraisa, there's no such thing as kinyanim, which are shibud. It's just a schus gvia bi'alma. It's a schus tirfa. It's allowing you to collect. Remember, we discussed this. It's like mashkin b'shas gvia. Okay, if that's the case, the chayre, that's what Taisus is saying. When Taisus is saying this, he's going with Papa L'Shitasa. That's the chayre what's coming. If you hold there's nothing to take in the chayre proper because the Shibuda Lav Deraisa. So for Shteitzach he doesn't have it. So what's left? It's nothing more than shvach. So he says there's no difference between this and that. That's what he boils down. If you don't hold Nardah and you hold Shibuda Lav Deraisa, there's no reason for you to get Pishnayim. This is his shita. The Rishonim jump on it. Because why would he do this? Why would Rav Papa suddenly bring this up here? How would the Gemara bring it against the whole flow of the Gemara going Chav Gimel Daled Chav A, and all of a sudden the Rav Papa goes Shibuda Lav Deraisa, and then everything we said is irrelevant. It's more than that. One would expect if that's the case, he would have said that explicitly. And does he say it explicitly? He doesn't say it explicitly. If this is out to say that, so Adirah, but what's he saying? What are you going to say? He said it. He only said Ein Abchor Netlo Pishnayim B'Milva, and you're supposed to understand who I didn't the Baal because there's other reasons. Eifel Kol Zeh Munach V'Papapo. The Ramban asked these questions. The Ramban asked it's against the Sugisai Gemara, etc. The Ramban has alternative answers. If you read the Ramban in the beginning, the Ramban brings the Rimigash. And the Rimigash differentiates between the muzik, what's called muzik for a Baal, and the muhzik of a bchor. That's what I want to show. Here the Ramban is over here in Daf Kuf Chof Hey, a long Ramban that I sent you. And the Ramban says, etc. Here it is. Yeah. He brings the Taisvis. Right. And here he quotes the Rimigash. Miu, afagav the kaimel milva ro'uihi, although we think that milva is called roy. Why? Because as far as shibudim is concerned, it's called what? Yochel asalke bezuzah, right? That's what's called roihu. Hani mili gabi pchor. Why? The matana kaya rachmana. Ubeinan the matil liyadei. Avol gabi bal milva muchzekesi. The Yorish Lebal. And he's going to explain in 2 minutes why. V'deikanami. Where's the diak? This is true. He says, Midi Omer Papa ve'ena b'chor noitlo pishtayim b'milva. So he says, Dafke b'chor avobal muchzekesi. By the fact that he wrote, on one hand he equated them, then it came to milva, you only discussed b'chor. So the idea, the first part of Rav Papa is to equate them as far as Roy and Muzuk. Yet when it came to Milva, he's pointing out that Milva is called Roy by a Bchor and doesn't mention it's called Milva by a Baal. That is exactly the Chiddush of Rav Papa, that the Muzzakus is different. The concept of Muzuk and Roy by Bchor and the concept of Muzuk and Roy by Baal are two separate issues. Now, what is the difference? That's what he brings the Ri Migash. Now, what's the sort of the Ri Migash? The Lamaisa, this is Mavur and Ri Migash, but it's also Mavur in the Yad Ramah in Ois Tzadik Daled. Let me tell you what it says over there. It says something very interesting. He says that the idea of Matan Kari Achmana, it really depends. It depends. Why is it that we can't? When Roy is no good. So he said there's two psukim. One is Matan Kari Rachmana, and the other is Yimatzeh. So he says, listen, Matan Kari Rachmana means to say, according to him, that anything which technically you can't transfer, that doesn't go for Bchira. So he says, in principle, Chayv Da'acherim, you can't transfer. Mechirish Dors is Rabbana. You can't transfer, so there's no Bchira on that. He says, it's a technical issue. It's not that you don't own it. It's not something which is nitn l'mechira. It's a technical issue. This technical issue is enough to define that is not part of the nefchara. So he writes. He therefore writes, for example, when the Gemara said the milva she'imai palga, what happens if the bchor owed the father money? And since the father could be moichel the bchor to chayv to the bchor, that's called since hypothetically he could have given that chayv to the bchor through mechila. Interesting, not through regular matana, but through mechila. This goes into a sugya of what is mechila. We're not going there at the moment. Aber they state in Megash and they state in Ramah. Okay, it's an Ois Tzadik Daled on this idea of milva she'imah. So now we know there's one halacha. Now there's another halacha of yimatzeh. What this other halacha of Yematzeh? The halacha of Yematzeh says that what? It's something which isn't have to be Matzu or not Matzu. That's lav dafka totally if you can sell it or not sell it. And therefore, hypothetically, it could be something else. So he says in the by Bchor where there's the halacha of Matana Karachmani. So obviously he doesn't have Pishnaim in a milva because the milva is something which you can't transfer. Mechirish Dors is Drabana. You can't sell a chayv. Therefore, there's no Pishnaim in a chayv. Masha'en came by Bala doesn't say anywhere an idea of Matana Kari Rachmana. What is the source? We'll have to see it shortly. Okay, what is the source? And therefore, he seems to be saying, therefore, Mamela, by him, Milva, you can be Bala will get Pishnayim B'Milva. This is the Ramban, brings this from Migash. You can read the Migash and Bar Chova in the Ramah. Lamaisa, this basic idea of the two psukim revealing one on the other is a Mefurish Taisvis and Kuf Chavav Amid Beis. Just want to read that Taisvis with you a little bit in the beginning. That the Bchor has Kaidim Chaluka as a chelik when from Shas Machor. Remember, from Shas Machor, it's called his. So Taisvis Afagav the Kaimlan Kirabanon. Kid a pasuk or papa the aim b'chor notla pishnaim b'milva. We paskin aim b'chor notla pishnaim b'milva. Kirabanan the amra chayli b'chor ad the asali aday. What the reason my milva? Because ad the asali day he's quoting the Gemara in Kuf Chav Dal Damid Aleph Matana Kaya Rachmana. Ma'dir Rabbanan the yesh leb'chor kaidem chaluka. Yesh leb'chor kaidem chaluka. Kid pirush hakuntus. They have a shop in Roy Lotus like Shemisha Shemesa Av Haya Roy Latetlo. Umiu Mikomakom Ein Notla Pishnayim Bishvach. The Lemi losses Lemi Matin Le Elmi Motzer Le Matin Le. The boy Motzer Muslim Ute Roy Ibal Milva Vishvach V'chulu. Losses Galikra. Okay, I want you to see this insight because I want to move on. I see the clock. I have to move on. This is a Taisu which points out to a correlation between the two drushes, and he points out that each one is different. You have to parallel this to the Ramah that I just quoted in Ois Tzadik Dalet. That's what I need. What comes out of this whole shmooze is one thing. That this goof is the Shaila, the Rishonim, the whole Shakatar, the Shaila and Papa is there an equation of the din, Muzuk and Roy by Baal to the concept of Muzuk and Roy by Pchor? According to Ramban, that goof is the Chiddush, that no, they're not the same thing. According to Migash, that they're different. He brings this type of svara, that type of svara, but the unterst is sure. We look at Rav Papa, what's Rav Papa saying? They are one hand equated, but they have different hagdoros. Period. That's the aside coming out of this, according to all these Rishonim that don't accept this whole idea of the Rashbam, that there's Yerush Yachid. That's only the Rashbam. Okay, Lamai said okay, you look up the Rif, please. Okay, but we'll do that later. Okay. This is where I was stuck, and I want to know what is the tzad that they should be similar or not be similar. So here I started this last time. I think I'll be able to finish it in the next 20 minutes, and that'll be okay. Again, the aside of Yerushas Abal. Okay, we know. Let's go back to that Gemara. Amar in Kuf Yud Gimel Amid Aleph. Amar Bavo, Amar Rabbi Yechon, Amar Rabbi Yanai, Amar Rebbe, V'Matla Mishwin, Rabbi Yeshua ben Korcha, the Kuf Yud Gimel Amid Aleph, middle of the Amid. In nine lebal she'ena noit leberoy kibemuvz. She'nemar uzguv ha'lidus yoyer va'ilu esem shlesh shorim be'eretz hagila. We know that what it's Guv was the son of Chetzrain and the daughter of Machir, and he was a 60-year-old man that married this young girl. Chetzrain, that's the son of Yehuda, as you obviously know. Okay, no, the grandson of Yehuda, that you obviously know. And you can look up the end of Rus, you'll see his name there. Okay, he's the father of Ram, which is the father of Aminadav, if I'm not mistaken, which is the father of Nachshon, blah, 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 etc. Okay, so we know that Chetzrain married the daughter of Machir, and he had Zguv, and then Zguv had another Yoyer, which is the second Yoyer. The first Yoyer is the Yoyer, the son of Menashe himself. That you know from the end of Parshas Matos, that what you call Chavos Yoyer. You must remember that. The end of Parshas Matos, there's Chavos Yoyer, that's the Menashe and Noivach, the sons of Menashe. Yoyer and Noivach, the sons of Menashe, they conquered a bunch of cities in Gilad. Please look that up, okay? So we know, but okay, so what happened later is that there was another Yoyer, that's the son of Zguv, and all of a sudden he has 23 cities. Pasuk says afterwards that they conquered, that the Syrians, from Aram, they conquered it, and then David had to go reconquer it again. That's the idea, and that's in Syria. So it says, "Guf hayil yayav hayil esem shalosh arim be'eretz hagilad minayin liyar shlayil l'zguv el malamet shenot l'zguv yisha u'meisa b'chayim marisha u'meisa marisha v'yosha yair." And Vash Tate Mefush that that Zguv did not have these cities; it was only yours. Why didn't Zguv have the cities? He's the husband of this lady. The Teretz says it's Roya, not Muzak. This is the thing. So we pointed out the Rashbam is modern. What did the Rashbam say? Rashbam says in the Ramasal Kiba Muzak Yerusha he Muzakis Kar Koidim Misasik Kigen Shemei Savia Vachakach Meisahi Uminayin Shalei Yirash. So L'chayr, without this verb, shoot what you say. How do you know he won't? L'chayr, why shouldn't he? It's only a din of b'chor. We don't have any mucker to say that a Baal shouldn't have roy. So the simple things is we know you've told me that there is no din of your roy. How do I know? Kabbalah Mishinai. Like no one's arguing with this. If there be a machlokes, I would say it's not Pirush Mekulah Mishinai. Because the Rambam puts a cloud. If there's a machlekes, it can't be a pirush makul Messina. So we say, what's the problem? It's a pirush makul Messina. The only question is, what's the mucker? What's the sweat? No, he doesn't learn that way. He doesn't think it's a pirush makul Messina. It's instead a svara. He said the sal kedait the chamina because we would have thought that keeping the baal kaidon lebna liyarsha v'achinami kishemesa v'chagach nafla yerusha yagdim av lebnai. Why the kal v'chaymu? Keeping the malkai ben who kaidem little b'muzik b'roi namu yerish kal v'chaymu ben sheyesh b'roi v'shtei dam afurish in Rashbam. The only reason we need a pasuk because without that we would have had a kal v'chaymu. Kal v'chaymu is called leveraged logic. It's one of the Yudgil Midrash Atern Dreshbem, which you can be darshaning even without a Kabbalah Mirabaisaf. We know that. This is something which is not called Mefurish Bekra, if you remember Rashi and Sanhedrin and Peri Ben Sira. But at the end of the day, it's a viable way of learning. We would have said there's a Kal V'chaymer that he should be able to get right. Why do we see that? Because when it comes to Yarshin, a mother or a wife, there's two people which get this: the son or the husband. Okay. So what happens? If there's a son and the husband gets first. It's only when the husband's not there, then the son gets Yerushas Haben. That's the cloud. That's as simple as that. Okay. Well, then, if that's the case, we see as Kapi Dina Yerusha that the husband has more chshivas than the son. No, and then the son, when it comes to his mother, definitely gets right. A son gets right. So why shouldn't the husband get right? It's a kal v'chaymer. So with that, we need the pasuk to tell me that no, we walk away from the kal v'chaymer. What does that mean to say? The svara in as far as the pasuk don't say that kal v'chaymer. So now, what does it come out to be? Now that the pasuk says you don't say that kal v'chaymer, what are we saying? So we're left with the original svara. What would happen without the kal v'chaymer? Well, by the fact that you needed the kal v'chaymer, you're telling me that there's a svara that a baal should not get right. You needed a kal v'chaymer to tell me he needed right. And this is no Gemara on this. So obviously he's coming to Svara Pshuta. What is the Svara Pshuta in Rashbam that a Baal should not get right? And he says, but we would have said Enechem to Svara Pshuta, but there's a kal v'chaymer which says that's not true, which is legitimate. What you call leveraged logic overwhelms regular logic. Kal v'chaymer overwhelms Svara. That's what it is. But once you have, this is better than a pirch. It's a fursha yavfusa that this leverage logic is not true. This leverage, this kal v'chaymer is not emes. Doesn't say why, and therefore now you're open to explain why. So what actually we have here, you're looking for the svara of A. Why do you think independently that a baal should not get right? And what is now the svara after you say a pasuk that he? And then there's a leverage like he should get right. And now you have basically this thing say you don't get right. Why? Because that original svara is correct. What is this svara? That's what we're looking for. What's the getter of this Yerusha? The answer is very simple. The answer is it's taki very simple. And that is as follows. In Gidra Yerusha, you have to know there's one big drasha coming. When you learn your Shneichim from the beginning, you know there's a major theme. It's called Yerushas are not protim. It's not my nechasim go to my brothers, or my nechasim go to my uncle, or my nechasim go to my grandchildren, to my daughters, or whatever. No, it's halacha that family estates go within the family. The halacha is that mishpachas av is kori mishpacha. Therefore, it goes only to the paternal family, and then there's a list of who are the representatives of the family which will take on the familial estates. How do I see that? I'll give you two sugis which are very similar. Here's the Gemara in Kuf Tes Amid Beis. So the Gemara Sheirai, this is the fourth line. Sheirai is a Ishtoi. Melamed Shabal Yerush is Ishtoi. That's how the Gemara starts. The Gemara says, the Rebbe Omer, Bekul never been the scene, Bekan never Mahavora, Shein Lecha Maver Nachlam B'Shevet L'Shevet El Labas. V'hoyel ubna ubayla yorsha moisa v'may the shever zeh ab d'chsiv sher avichu ema shever zahem d'chsiv sher imchai Amar Rava Amar Kra mi mishpachtoi v'yerish oisa mishpachas av kori mishpacha mishpachas aim and a kar mishpacha. You have to be mishpachtoi that you can be yorish. In other words, what happens is in order to be yorish you have to be called mishpachtoi. What's called mishpachtoi? Mishpachas av. If you're a relative, you're not mishpachtoi, you're not part of the deal. The Yisod, it has to be a Yerusha b'mishpachtoi. It means to say, because the Yerusha goes, Mishpacha bleibt in the Mishpacha. Mishpacha means Mishpachas Av, and then there's a list of who are the people that get it. Mishpachas Av Kriya Mishpacha, Mishpachas Ein a Kriya Mishpacha, Dichsiv Yisnachal, the Mishpacha Yisrael, and Beis Avoisam. That's one Gemara. Go to the Gemara Kuf Yudah and Beis, you have a similar halacha. There the Gemara says, again, he brings that same drasha, that at the bottom of Kuf Yudah and Beis, that say the last 5 lines, again, V'lamalim Mishpachta V'yeresh Oisa Ksiv, Mishpachas Av Kriya Mishpacha, Mishpachas Ein Kriya Mishpacha. That's the site. So basically, every Yerusha is the mice. What happens is in a Mishpacha. What you call Yerusha's Krivim. Yerusha's Krivim is not because John is my relative, because he is part of that family. You're a Korv Mitzad Ha'em is also a Korv. It's also a Pasal La'edus Mor de Kula Alma. As far as all other halachas is concerned, you have a Shem Korv. Yet as far as Yerusha is concerned, you're a Korv, but you're not a Korv Mitzad Mishpachas Ha'av. Which means to say it has to fall in the Mishpacha. It's al derech, like we know the same thing by Yivum. We know Ki Yeshu Achim Yachtov, who are the Achim which have to mime the shame of the father, of the deceased brother, died without children, only brothers by the father. Because that's his bias. The Yivna's base Achiv, the idea is since you're all in one bias, you're one base Av, and therefore you will rebuild this part of the base Av. That's the getter of the halacha. That's why Achlam and Av is what is needed for Yibum. This is the getter of the halacha. It's Yerusha's mishpacha. This is Abiyas Bekutcha. Lemaisa, there's a halacha, a very famous halacha we know called mishmush. You know what that means? This is the beginning of the sugi. It's actually the beginning of the perik and the far end of the perik. Mamish, we're holding like a kufta test start. There's a gemara also there. So we're talking that what the halacha, what happens if a person is in a caver, is yairish to be manchil to someone to go to other dirs which go up. In other words, the man's dead, but your Yerusha the deceased will be yairish in the caver to be mairish to other people which will finally get to you. It's called mishmush, okay? It's called inheritance through deceased parties. So the Gemara Taisus writes before an interesting halacha. So Taisus, what do you say of mishmush? Taisus writes in Daf Kuf Yudal Damabez. I want you to read it. To hear it. Let's read it together. The Gemara there said, literally in the middle of the Gemara, just where there's a big bold aleph. Ein abal yerush is ishtay bekever, af isha is bna. Ein ben yerush is ima bekever lahanchel laachim min ha'av. That's called mishmush. What happens if there's a mother and then he's dead, the son, but he's her daughter, and now that it's his brothers from the other side, from the father, get that. That's called mishmush. So Taisus writes, look, I'm just going to skip a bit to Taisus because I don't want to go through the whole thing. You can see it. Taisus writes as follows. Taisus writes, V'im nefarish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th line. He brings the sheet of Rashi in the sugya and knocks it out. He says, V'im nefarish yoshia about kishu ba'kever ein yorishes ishtoi lahanchel echa. What happens? He's dead, and his wife died after him, and he has brothers. Is he yorish that b'misa in order to give it to his brothers? Because the brothers are his yorshim. Is there mishmush by Yerushas Abal? So he says, the af aisha ein aben Yerushas imak shuba kever lahanchil la'achiv min ha'af. Both, or it's true. In both instances, there's no mishmush by Yerushas aben, and not by Yerushas as imay, and not by Abal as ishtay. Avotema da amay pshita bebal tfema beben. It seems to be from the Gemara, Bebal was of a pashit. And we need to add the halacha, even the ben. Why was it pashut? The Baal is no mishmush. We still thought there was a concept of ben, and there's a din also by ben. There's no mishmush. Zokter Azray. The my pshita the Baal tfeim ben. The mash pish rivam lekach pshita le Baal mishum the sheris pokel achar misa. You're not a share lachar misa. How do you expect me to be Irish to my wife, and afterwards give it to the brothers? Why is the Yerusha of a Baal? Because he's called She'er, which means, as we learned in that Taisvis through the Friday, Thursday, you're called Basar Echad. Do you remember that Taisvis in Divrei Kuf Yud Gimel, Divrei Amaschel Mesa, where Taisus wrote over there, Baal in a Yerush Machmas Kurva, Ela Machmas She'erus She'em Chashuvim Kibasar Echad. That was the Lashon of the Taisus in Kuf Yud Gimel Medav Divrei Amaschel Mesa, the last Taisus. So we thought, well, this is not your she'er anymore, because your she'er goes with that. So he said that's not true. And whatever he brings. This is not going to get to me at the moment. So he says, so he says, V'aymer ri, Zok Taisus V'aymer ri. Hainu timer, why is there zichur no mishmush by the husband? And there's a chiddush also not by the son. Mishum de ein odem yesh bekever lahanche lekrayvim. How exactly do you plan, if you're dead, how are you supposed to be bequeathed to your krayvim? For example, again, the husband passed away, and now the wife passed away. Does the deceased husband inherit the assets of the wife in order to bequeath it to his heirs, which are his brothers? People which are not related to the woman. They're related to the deceased husband. Does he do it or not? So he said that only wishmidin mishmush. And nafkalon ben ein loy the hainu hanu the yorshim machmas kurva. The source is in a place where you're yorish machmas kurva. Avo bal de la yorish machmas kurva le ashkach mishmush. We have no mucker in a place where you're not yorish machmas kurva. What does he say? He says that qualitatively speaking, there's a big difference between Yerusha and between a husband. A husband is not a korev. A husband is not even part of your mishpacha. A husband is just a husband. Okay, and there's Zundra halacha. Why is he Yerush? Not because he's related to you, but rather because he's an extension of you. That we saw. I quoted. I'll say it again. Look at Taisus Kuf Yud Gimel Amid Aleph. The last Taisus on the page. Divrei Amaschel Mesa. Steht in Taisus via Shleimer Kiven Abal Ein Yerush Machmas Kurva Ela Machmas She'erus She'en Chashuvin Kibasar Echad. It's something totally different. I'm an extension of you. Whatever you have, I have. I'm not a Yerush in a proper sense. It's not your assets go to the family, and whatever your assets are, they are family assets. Therefore, naturally, they go to whoever's now the representative of the family. That's not what we're talking about. This is not a regular Yerusha. This is an extension of ownership, which is something totally different. So obviously, if you can't own, there's no mishmush. There's no Yerusha Bekever here, simply because you have to. If she's dead and your life is an extension. Now, where do we have a parallel to that? That idea, there's the concept of Yerusha, not Medina Yerusha, but of extension of identity. We discussed this in the past. Here, I'll show it to you again. This is the famous Gemara. Well, first of all, I want to show you something interesting. There's a famous Gemara here, Rav Chaim ben Akatzit. Please open up Kuf Yud Aleph Amid Aleph. Zok Rav Chaim ben Akatzit. The Gemara says like this: how do we know that the Ben is Yerush? How do you know Ben's Yerush? The last line of Kuf Yud Amid Beis. Va'ish es imay. Menani mili. How do we know that the Ben is Yerush es imay? Doesn't say anywhere in the pasuk. The Tani Rabbana. The pasuk says v'chobas yeresh es nachla mimatos b'nei Yisrael. That's the famous pasuk. Once again, now we're going to the Bnei Slavchot stories. So the Gemara, Heich bas yeresh shtei matas. It says bas yeresh es nachla mimatos b'nei Yisrael. Mashman, she was yeresh two matos. Matos is lashon rabbit. Doesn't say mimate b'nei Yisrael. She was yeresh one shevet. She's yeresh two shvatim. How's the bas exactly going to be yeresh two shvatim? Ella zu shavia mishevet echad. Father was from shevet Ruvain, and Imam mishevet acher. The mother was from shevet Shimon. Umeisun, they both passed away. V'yoshetan, and she inherits both the mother and the father. So we see that the daughter is yeresh the mother. We don't say that if she doesn't have a son, it goes to her brothers and back to her father's family. No, the daughter is Yerush. This is the Makkah from this halacha of Bas Yeresh Nachla. And now the Gemara makes a call. How do you know it's a son? Maybe only a daughter. Shoynavek. In other words, what's he saying here? It's mishpachas avkar mishpacha. The children of the mother are not mishpachas av of the mother. Okay, they are the mishpachas av of the husband. So for goodness sakes, why are they Irish? They're kurva, they're her mishpacha, but that's how another getter of mishpacha. So the Gemara, there's a halacha that what the bas? How do you know Ben? The Gemara says the kal v'chaymer. Ma bas shura koicha b'nichse av. Bas is hura koicha b'nichse av because she's not Irish in nichse av. Yofa koicha b'nichse av. We see clearly that she's Irish by the mother. Ben she yofa koicha b'nichse av. And adin she yofa koicha b'nichse. What do we see here? We're equating that just like there's a din of Yerushas, a son of a father, he should definitely have in the mother. Okay. So here we see there's a chiddush. This is somehow also called mishpacha. Otherwise, it makes no sense in this kal v'chaymer. So the Gemara, and since we learned from there, we learned the whole thing is from the kal v'chaymer for regular Yerusha, or just like regular Yerusha. The din is if there's a girl and a boy, the boy takes precedence. Afkan ben kain lebas. This is the Gemara. So basically, the whole source that we know that a ben is Yerusha's imay is from a bas. But since it's based on a kal v'chaymer of regular Yerusha, and in regular Yerusha, the halach is that the ben is kain lebas. Same thing by the mother, the ben is kain lebas. So the Gemara, Rabbi Yosi by Yehuda, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yosi, Amram, B'Shem, Rabbi Schaya ben Akatzav. I love the name. Schaya, the son of the butcher. You know, I think of Muncie, Chaim, and butchers, I get nervous. You know what I mean? Right. Okay, Echad ben ve'echad abas, shovim b'nichseim. No, there's no kedima between mother and there's no din of kedima of mother of son and daughter in nichseim. My timer, dayer lovin adin lias kenoda. Since the only makar of Yerusha, Taben, is learned from the bas, therefore, Mamela, you can't say that it's more than the bas. So we call it equal. So the Gemara, everyone holds dayoy. It says you're right. Everyone holds dayoy, and if that would be the case, we should say that this is a special Yerusha and nothing to do with the regular Yerushas. Regular Yerushas ben kaid and lebas, but over here no, they're equal. Since the makar is bas, it should be equal. Shani achad amakami matais. There's a special zakasa. Makish mata aim lemata. Ma mata av ben kaid and lebas av mata aim ben kaid and lebas. Buzz black dog. Hey, says mitzada svar mitzada yelfusa. We would have said that Einochin Nami, this is not regular Yerusha. Because there's a din of Dayoy, and we don't equate it to Yerusha Sa'av. And we say that no, this is a unique Yerusha. What's the Chiddush of Matos? Matos tells me no, this whole Kavochem, now bring it back to the regular din of Yerusha. What's the Shaka V'taya of the Gemara? The Shaka V'taya Gemara is really very interesting. We thought this has nothing to do with the regular din of Yerusha. And the Kamash, well, it does have to do with the regular din of Yerusha. There's a big machlekes in Amiroim, how we pass in this law. I want you to know. What the getter of this machlekes? The Shteta in Yesod, the idea that a ben is Yerush is imo is not miteris mishpacha. What the getter of that halacha? It's a getter of what? Of brokar davu. I mentioned it last week. We bought the Gemara in Erechim. I'll quote it again shortly. It's another halacha. You're an extension of mom. Okay? And there we thought if that's the case, if it's just their life, not a regular lach of mishpach, it's a lach of extension of mom. Maybe the ben kodin lebas. Maybe they're shovim. It's only once we added the drush of matos that person says no, stick it as a parshas Yerusha in this halacha also the din of kedima ben lebas. Even in this halacha the din of kedima ben lebas. Even this din of Yerusha's aim, which is brokar davua. There's a din of kedima lebas. Otherwise, this whole sugya makes no sense. Why would it be different? All you needed was a gilui milsum. At the end of the day, if this is proper Yerusha, what's the problem? The answer is no. You didn't know it was proper Yerusha. You thought it was a special yelfusa. What's the special yelfusa? Because this is not the classical mishpacha savka and mishpacha. This is the chayr, what you're saying here.
Rabbi. Rabbi.
Take it a little further because I know it's late. I want to finish this because that's it. Now, to understand this totally, let me explain the Gemara in Erechim. That's really what counts here. The Gemara says in Erechim, we saw in the Mishnah in Erechim in Chafei. We saw the Mishnah in Erechim in Chafei. The halacha was that if you have a seseh achuzah and someone else is paid it, So it goes out, if the Baal himself is paided, it goes to himself. What the halacha if his son was paided? Where does it go in Yovel? When the son, it's a Mishnah. When the son is paided, the halacha is, we say in the Moinach Kovchever base, the ben oimid b'makim ha'av, and that's called the gula of the father. Very similar to the idea of tfusas abayis. You understand? It's not yotze b'yovel to the cheir makayim. It goes literally back to the to the father. This is the Gemara. The Gemara says, "Ma imara isla rabish the ben lohitzis ha'ach ma ben isa ben she can come tachlis aviv liyado levid ivri." Just like there's a halacha by Evid Ivri. There's no din Yerusha. It's a Mefurish Gemara Kedusha and Yud Zayin Amid Beis. There's no din Yerusha. Afal Pikain, there's a halacha. He's Ovid Saben. Why is he Ovid Saben? Not midin Yerusha. Midin Ben. Ovid Makim Aviv. That's the halacha. For you, the same thing. You bought yourself a shifcha Amma Ivriya. You're supposed to be miyayider. If you're not miyayider, the son is miyayider. You can't give it to your cousin. Why the son? Ki oimid bimkim aviv liyud and oimid bimkim aviv le'evid ivri. So Mamelo, the halach is that's why he's also for stei achuz. He's called the same thing. The Gemara there has a shaila. What's it din by about? So the Gemara, and here there's a machlekes of Gersois, but I pointed out this is the Gersa of Rabbeinu Gershon. It's also Mefurish in Rambam and Perik Daled Erech and Halacha Chav Beis. Rambam has this Gersa in the Gemara. What does it say? The Gemara asks the Shaila, what happens if there's a son, if a husband? Mi mamid la baila sada shetei shala. What happens if she sold the stei achuzim and nixim and look, and the Baal was paided? Is that as if she was paided, and therefore Mamele it goes back to her in Yovel, or as if someone else was paided and it goes to Kain ikachem me'akainim in Yovel? Dr. Rabbeinu Gershon, what's his Gersa? Mi yamel lebayla sadi shtei shala b'Yovel mi chashvin keilu hu he atzma gol toy. We say there's a difference. Shekena ben noit leberoy kibamugzik kid appears b'yesh neichlin v'yofa kayach ben mi kayach. The ben has roy kibamugzik. He's oimid b'mokem ha'af. Masha'enki the Baal, since he's not notel to roy kibamugzik, he's less oimid b'mokem ishtoy. What statement for Ishda? They both have agdoris of you are share, you're my basar echad, you're b'makom ishtoy, but even in that there's differences. If you're nothing more than basar echad equals share, it would seem to be here there's a possibility for it to say you are less oimid b'makom ha'isha than the ben, which is oimid b'makom ha'av, because he gets what? He gets both roy and muvzik. Now, how is roy and muvzik an indicator to the quality of the relationship, this specific relationship? So the teretz is a ganze pashta zach. And here's what you have to understand. Taisa said it very clearly. Taisa said that when I say the husband is the basar echad with the wife, what does that mean? It simply means the halacha that her ownership is mine. That's what it is. Okay, so as much as she owns something, you don't own it. And if she doesn't own it now, you don't own it. Therefore, that the svar of roy and mukzik there is a total svar, not in Hilchos Yerusha. It's a total halacha is to what extent you can only be an extension of her monetary ownership as much as she has it. As much as she doesn't have it, she's going to come to her. You're not an extension there. That's a svar. That's the this is the mitzvah svar. That's the agdor. Sherish is nothing more than a hemshich of the isha. That's a let to get her the Yerusha. So it was a davar pasha. That what she has in her bailis b'chayim, so he takes. He's an hemshich of what she has b'chayim. What she doesn't have b'chayim, he's not part of. What the father will be married to her later, etc. That's not part of the deal. Now she's dead. She never had it. Whatever she had, I have. That's the getter of what? Of the share, the basar echad. It's not that the share is nifka. Enough to say that. It's like Taisa says, why is there no mishmush? Here the svar is a svar pshuta. There's no mishmush here because not a parshas Yerusha. No one ever said the Baal is a Yerush. The Baal is not a Yerush in parshas Yerusha. He's not mishpacha at all. What is he? He is oimid b'makom ishtoi. She'er means kibasar echad, as so to speak, the Taisa says. So what does basar echad mean? You now have like one identity. For what? Now we have parallels to that Rosh Hashanah, Chanukah, and Drabanans. We have an idea that a husband likes because of the spasik of basar echad, we decide that his lighting equals enough for her too. Okay, but let's take a better example. Take the Gemara, famous Gemara in Sanhedrin Chav Beis. Why is an Isha apostle Eidus Baal, the Baal, and the Baal apostle Isha and Eidus Aisha? It's not because the pasuk la yumsu avais albanim. That's the pasuk for pasling all Eidus which are kroivim. This is not part of that. They are not included in the pasuk of la yumsu avais albanim. They don't have a psul of korov. Husband-wife relationships are not kroivim. Husband-wife relationships because they have one identity. Because one is an extension of the other. It's a total different Agdora. I don't know if anybody learned Sanhedrin here. A very famous Gemara, Daf Yud Amid Aleph, with the Ran there and the Ravid, which they write, that the Shail of the Gemara, is the husband a Korov to his wife or not? And the Ran brings the Ravid that says, he isn't a Korov because he's much more than a Korov. He's an extension of her. Korov means 2 points which are related. He and her are 1 point. He's the Baldin himself. Talking about his wife is talking about himself. Please read the Ran, Daf Yud Amud Aleph in Sanhedrin, which he based himself on a famous Ravid at the end of the first parak of Makos. It's the same idea. You are not related. I am not related to my wife. I'm more than that. Okay? Relative means a relationship between 2 points. We are perceived 1 point. This is not just beautiful poetry for Mother's Day or whatever that is. This is actually the halachic truth. That's the psul of the Eidus, and that they get rid of the Yerusha. So to what extent are we 1 point? Does she put on my tefillin? Does she shake my lulav? What's maintenance? So obviously it depends to which halachas we're talking about. So here we have that. As far as dinei mamis is concerned, your bailish is now my bailish. So Mela, now I'm continuing it. That's the getter of the halacha. That's what he writes it for our own passages at Ladina. I'll repeat again. Look at Perik Dal Erich and Halacha Chav Beis, and look at the Kesef Mishi. He writes it in the Fush. He writes that a ben is one. The subject of the Gemara is a Baal B'chlal, like his wife or not. Do we say Meishi B'mkoima as far as this is concerned? What's the nafkamina? So here we see a nafkamina. Masha'enkim by ben. What's the gather of this halacha? Why do we say that a ben is your roy? It's a davar pashut. He's not a hemshich of his of the mumminess. It's not basar echad. The chiddush of the parsha is that there's a din mishpacha also going from mother to son. Since the bra is carried avur, there's a special halacha that he is Yerush also. He is called a mishpacha. He takes her assets. Since he's carried today, he is called a korah. That's not a korah. A mother for a son is lo yumsu avis albanim. No one said that the son is the mother. The only problem was if Chayr is not mishpachas av. So here the chiddush din is mi bitoy and mi b'nai. We learned that this is also called mishpacha. Reb Chaim ben Akatzev thought there's no kedim of av leben, but that's what we learned from the din of matois. No, it's just like Yerushas av. So what is it? It's a Gila and Milsa, as far as the mother is concerned, the children are called mishpacha. So if that's the case, what's the difference? Every Yerusha includes Roy. Whatever somehow in your asset box, even if you don't own it, but it's your due, that also is Roy. So obviously there's a difference between Ben and between husband. That's the getter of the halacha. That's the shvach of the Baal. The Baal by a Ben, we understood you're really an extension, not just extension of the mumness. You're the family. That's the side of the Gemara to say, well, since you're not just the Ben, you're also the family. Your mom is you're as mishpacha. That's why the Gemara says if you are also neitel b'roy kiva muchzik, you're more than the husband. What's more? Because you have a bigger dimension. You're not just extension, private father and son and mother, brother, mother and son. You're also that's family. Mashenka, the husband, is not family. He's only an extension of ownership of her goes to him. This is obviously the svara chitzayna that we had that a Baal would not be would not get roy without a kal v'chaymer. And then there was a kal v'chaymer, and the kal v'chaymer was going to say that what? The kal v'chaymer was going to come and say that afal pikein there would be a halacha that what the Baal should get roy. And then the pasuk says it's not true. What is the svara of the kal v'chomer? The svara of the kal v'chomer could be there's a chiddush because of the kal v'chomer. We see the husband also as a korov, as far as Yerusha is concerned. And the pasuk says it's not true. He's not related. And we're back to base one. He's not related. He only has a din of sheirah. The shaila is, what did you think? B'shas kal v'chomer. So that's open to interpretation. I don't know anything to machriach. I don't want to open my mouth and say it was this or that. I know one thing. There was a svara pshuta. There was a kal v'chomer to walk away. And what the teretz? No. There is no kal v'chomer because ein ochinami. The ben is not yerush b'roi. This is the Gemara. The Untish the Shur, it comes out now very clear that we have when we're talking of the Baal of Musik and Roy, we're not talking of the same thing because the Agdoros are different. The Agdoros are going to depend on one thing. Once you understand that the Yerusha of a child, of a Bchor, for example, what's it in by Bchor? Bchor is not a chisorin in the Bible. There's a special halacha. That's a zaydik halacha. By Baal, it's not a pasik. By Baal, it's a svara. I'm only the extension of what you owned. That's what the Rashbam taught us. You didn't own it. That's why pshuta. By Bchor, no, it's Medin Yerusha, and the special halacha, but the different types of Yerushas, Roy and Muksik. It's not because I can't get what you didn't own, because there's no svara to it. You're a Yerush in everything, but you don't have Pishnaim, and it's a special halacha and how to divide the Yerusha. That's a different Agdora. One has nothing to do with the other. By Baal, the idea he doesn't get Beroi is because he's not a Yerush for that. He's only a Yerush as much as an extension of her ownership. He's not a Yerush on that. There's no reason he should be. That was svara, as the Rashbam taught us. No one dreamt that Bchor has a svara, that he doesn't get Roy. You needed a pasuk for it. Matoni Rachmana Yimatze. There's no svara for Bchor. So what is it? You are a Yerush. Afuch, instead of svara, you would be a Yerush. The pasuk says that no, you're not. So now, obviously, you can understand they come from two different places. Therefore, the Agdara of Musik and Roy by one does not have to be synonymous to Musik and Roy the other. This is what's happening in this sugya. This sugya is trying to find the relationship between them because they really do come from different places totally. Okay, that should be enough now because it's talking late and you have Mariv soon. Good. So tomorrow. Do we start? Tomorrow, no. Don't forget. Tomorrow, to understand. Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll do. If you tell me you learned the Gemara, I'll send you my copies in 5 minutes, and then I'll do it. If not, I'll do something else. I don't know what. Okay, we'll be in touch. Bye, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.